The gunshot sounded like a firecracker. That's what my brain tried to tell me as I locked the diner's back door at 2 a.m. My fingers numb from another double shift washing dishes in scalding water. Just a firecracker. Maybe a car backfiring. But then I saw the body. He fell in the alley across the street, his white shirt blooming red in the harsh glow of the streetlight. A second man stood over him, gun still raised, his face obscured by shadows and the hood of an expensive jacket. For one frozen moment, I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Could only watch as the shooter looked up and saw me staring. Our eyes met across the empty Brooklyn street. Even from this distance, I felt the impact of his gaze, cold and assessing, calculating whether I was a problem that needed solving. My survival instinct finally kicked in. I turned and ran. I made it exactly half a block before the black SUV screeched to a stop beside me. The back door opened. A man stepped out, and even in my panic, some part of my exhausted brain registered details. Tall, over 6 feet, wearing a suit that probably cost more than 6 months of my rent. Dark hair swept back from a face too handsome to be safe, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow that somehow made him more devastating instead of less. "Get in." His voice was smooth, dangerously calm, with just a hint of an accent I couldn't place. "I can't let you walk home alone tonight. Not after what you just witnessed." I stumbled backward, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. "I didn't see anything." "You're a terrible liar." He didn't move closer, didn't threaten, but something in his stillness was more terrifying than violence. "And unfortunately, that man you just watched die? He worked for people who will assume you saw something whether you did or not. So get in the car and let me make sure you survive the next 24 hours. No." The word came out stronger than I felt. "I'm going home. Alone." His jaw tightened, the only sign of frustration. "Where's home, Emma-chan?" "That 4th-floor walk-up on DeKalb Avenue. The one with the broken lock on the front door and no working security cameras." Ice flooded my veins. "How do you know my name? How do you—" "I know everything." He pulled out his phone, turning the screen toward me. "Surveillance photos. Me leaving the diner. Me walking Micah to school this morning. Me visiting Mum at the nursing home yesterday. I know about your brother, 13 years old, Iron Man obsessed, sleeps in the 3rd bedroom on the left. I know about your mother, late-stage EMS, St. Joseph's facility, room 247. I know you work 70 hours a week trying to pay for her care and keep your brother fed and clothed. I know, stop." My voice cracked. "What do you want from me? Right now? I want you safe. Which means you get in this car or I have my men escort you home. Your choice." I looked at his face, really looked, and saw something I hadn't expected. Genuine concern beneath the cold authority. This man was dangerous. Everything about him screamed predator, but he wasn't lying about the threat. Someone had just died 15 feet from where I stood, and the killer was still out there, just to my apartment. I said finally. "Then you leave me alone." "Deal." He stepped aside, gesturing to the car's interior, like he was offering me a throne instead of a cage. I got in. The leather seat was buttersoft, still warm from his body heat. He slid in beside me, close enough that I could smell him. Cedar, and something sharper, like gunpowder and expensive cologne. The car pulled away from the curb with silent efficiency. "What's your name?" I asked, needing to fill the suffocating silence. He looked at me, and his smile was sharp enough to cut. Luca Moretti. My blood went cold. Everyone in Brooklyn knew that name. The man who'd taken over the Moretti family 3 years ago. The one they called the Reformer in whispers, not because he was gentle, but because he was ruthlessly dismantling his father's criminal empire and rebuilding it into something even more dangerous. I couldn't finish the sentence. "Yes." His eyes never left mine. "And now that you've seen what you've seen, Emma, everything that happens to you is my business. Whether you like it or not." The car stopped outside my building. I reached for the door handle, desperate to escape. Until tomorrow, he said softly. Sleep well. I ran inside without looking back. The next morning, I found the black envelope taped to my door. Inside were surveillance photos, Micah at school, laughing with friends. My route to work, captured from 6 different angles. Mum's nursing home, her window circled in red. And beneath them all, a note in sharp, masculine handwriting: everything that happens to you is now my business. Meet me at Caf Paradiso, noon. Don't make me come find you. Oh, my hands shook as I read it again and again. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Wear something nice. We have a lot to discuss. Caf Paradiso occupied a corner in Little Italy that somehow felt separate from the rest of New York, quieter, older, like stepping into a different era. I arrived at 11:55, my stomach twisted into knots. Wearing the only nice thing I owned, a navy dress I'd bought at a thrift store for Mum's last coherent birthday. Luca was waiting in a private booth at the back, 2 men in black suits flanking the entrance like human walls. He stood when he saw me, a gesture of politeness that felt absurd given the circumstances. Today he wore charcoal grey, his dark hair perfect, that scar catching the light. Emma. My name in his mouth sounded like a caress and a threat. Sit, please. I slid into the booth, keeping as much distance as possible. He raised one finger, and a waiter appeared instantly with 2 espressos. Black, no sugar. Exactly how I took it. How did you... I pay attention. He pushed 1 cup toward me. To everything. My hands wrapped around the tiny cup, needing something to hold on to. What do you want from me? To keep you alive. He said it matter-of-factly, like discussing the weather. The man who died last night was Carlo Ferretti, lieutenant in the Corsini family. 3 rival families now know a witness exists. They'll find you within days. Maybe hours. Then I'll talk to the police. Tell them what I saw, and be dead before you finish giving your statement. His voice remained calm, but something dark flickered in his eyes. The NYPD has more Corsini informants than the Corsini family does. You'd be signing your own death warrant. I set down the cup before my shaking hands could spill it. So what then? You kill me yourself? Make it quick? For the first time, emotion cracked through his controlled exterior. Christo, no. I'm trying to protect you. Why? I leaned forward, anger overriding fear. You don't know me. I'm nobody to you. You're not nobody. The words came out rough, almost angry. And I have my reasons. He slid a leather folder across the table. Inside were documents. Lease agreement for a luxury apartment on the Upper East Side. Enrollment papers for Micah at a prestigious private school. Transfer orders for my mother to a state-of-the-art medical facility. This is what I'm offering, Luca said. Security, comfort, the best care your mother could receive. Your brother gets an education that will actually give him a future. And you, his eyes locked on mine. You get to stay alive. My throat tightened. What's the price? You move into my building. Top floor, separate apartment from mine, but close enough that my people can protect you 24/7. You don't leave without security. You don't contact old friends. You stay visible only to me until the threat is eliminated. A cage. The word tasted bitter. You're offering me a cage with prettier bars. His jaw tightened. You think I'm the cage? I'm the only thing standing between you and a shallow grave, Emma. This isn't about control, it's about survival. For how long? However long it takes. He pulled out his phone, swiped to a photo, and turned it toward me. 2 bodies, bloated and grey, lying on a riverbank. These were the shooters from last night. My people found them this morning. Whoever hired them is still out there, and now they're looking for the witness. Nausea rolled through me. You killed them. I eliminated a threat. No apology, no justification. Just fact. The families who sent them? They're just getting started. I wanted to run. Wanted to grab Micah and Mum and disappear to some small town where men like Luca Moretti didn't exist. But even as I thought it, I knew it was fantasy. I had $60 in my bank account and a dying mother who needed round-the-clock care. I need time to think. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I unlocked it with trembling fingers. A photo filled the screen. Micah's bedroom window. Taken from outside. Reese and I could see his backpack on the bed, the one he'd left for school with this morning. Below the image, a message. Your brother looks so peaceful when he sleeps. Third window from the left. Iron Man sheets. Cute. The phone slipped from my hands. Luca caught it, read the message, and his expression transformed into something absolutely lethal. He was already standing, phone to his ear, barking orders in rapid Italian that I couldn't follow. He ended the call and looked at me with eyes like black ice. My men are en route to his school now. They'll have him in protective custody within 10 minutes. Protective custody? My voice came out strangled. He's 13. He'll be terrified. He'll be alive. Luca leaned down, his hands flat on the table, trapping me with his intensity. You have 60 seconds to decide, Emma. Protection or pride? My world or a funeral? Choose. I looked at the photo still displayed on my phone, at my baby brother's window, at the proof that monsters knew exactly where to find him. Okay. The word broke something inside me. Okay, I'll do it. Luca's expression didn't soften, but something shifted, satisfaction maybe, or relief. Smart girl. He made 2 calls. In the first, he arranged for Micah's immediate extraction from school. In the second, a team to pack our apartment and move my mother. Within 30 minutes, my entire life was being dismantled and rebuilt in Luca Moretti's image. There's no going back from this, I whispered. He looked at me with something almost like tenderness. No, there isn't. The penthouse occupied the entire 42nd floor of a building in Midtown that I'd walked past 1,000 times without ever imagining I'd step inside. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city like we were floating above it. Furniture that belonged in museums. Art on the walls that I recognized from my mother's old coffee table books originals, not prints. Micah sat on a leather sofa worth more than our entire apartment, his backpack clutched to his chest, eyes wide with confusion and fear. 2 of Luca's men had extracted him from school with clinical efficiency, and now my baby brother looked at me like I was a stranger. Em? His voice cracked. What's happening? They said you were in danger, that we had to leave right now. I pulled him into my arms, breathing in his familiar scent of cheap body spray and anxiety. I know. I'm sorry. It's complicated, but we're safe now. I promise. Safe from what? He pulled back, looking around the penthouse with teenage suspicion. And who's this guy? Why are we in his house? Luca stood by the windows, giving us space but close enough to hear everything. He turned, and I saw him consciously soften his expression, trying to appear less threatening. My name is Luca. I'm a friend of your sister's. The lie came smoothly. Some people made threats against your family. I'm making sure nothing happens to either of you. Micah looked between us, processing. Are you like a cop or something? Or something? Luca's smile was careful. Emma, let me show you to your rooms. He led us down a hallway lined with abstract paintings. My suite was larger than our entire apartment bedroom, with a king bed dressed in silk sheets, bathroom with heated floors and a rainfall shower, sitting area with built-in bookshelves. Micah's room connected to mine through a shared door. Decorated in shades of blue and grey with a gaming setup that made my brother's eyes go huge. This is mine? Micah breathed. For as long as you need it. Luca leaned against the doorframe. There's a panic button by each bed. Press it, and I'm here in 30 seconds. Don't hesitate to use it. After I'd settled Micah with promises to explain more later, Luca showed me the rest of the penthouse. His bedroom, which I studiously avoided looking at too closely. The office where he conducted business. The kitchen, all marble and stainless steel and professional-grade appliances. Your mother's transfer went smoothly, he said, checking his phone. She's settled at Clearview Medical. Private suite, 24-hour nursing staff. We've arranged for you to visit tomorrow. The casual way he'd reorganized my entire existence should have made me furious. Instead, I felt something closer to relief. For the first time in years, the weight of responsibility lifted slightly. Thank you. The words felt inadequate for all of this. I know I don't deserve. Don't. His voice cut sharp. Don't diminish yourself like that. You deserve safety. You deserve care. You deserve... He stopped, jaw tightening. The panic button by your bed connects directly to my phone. Use it if you need anything. Anything at all. I'm not yours, I said, needing to establish the boundary. This is protection, not ownership. Something dangerous flickered in his eyes. Not yet. The promise in those words made my skin burn. I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I wandered out of my room, drawn by light from the kitchen. Luca stood at the stove, dressed in dark slacks and a white shirt with sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms marked with scars that told stories I probably didn't want to know. Hungry? He didn't look up from whatever he was stirring. Can't sleep. I perched on a bar stool, watching him move with unexpected grace. What are you making? Cacio e pepe. My grandmother's recipe. He plated the pasta with careful precision, set it in front of me with a fork. Eat. It wasn't a request. I took a bite and nearly groaned, creamy, peppery. Perfect. You cook, Nona insisted. All her grandchildren learn, said a man who could feed himself, would never starve. His eyes tracked every movement of my fork to my mouth, and never be lonely. Food brings people together. The intimacy of the moment felt more dangerous than any threat. Just the two of us in the quiet kitchen, the city sleeping below, him watching me eat something he'd made with his own hands. Why are you really doing this? I asked between bites. The truth, Luca, not the protection story. Why do you care if I live or die? He was quiet for a long moment. Then his phone rang. His expression went cold as he answered, listened, and hung up. When he looked at me, something terrible lived in his eyes. Your apartment, he said quietly. They found it. Burned it to the ground 30 minutes ago. He crossed the kitchen, gripping my hand so hard it almost hurt. If you'd been there, Emma, his voice broke. Everything that happens to you is now my business, and I protect what's mine. The intensity in his gaze made it impossible to breathe. I'm not, you are. He lifted my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that felt like a brand. You just don't know it yet. 3 days blurred into a routine that felt both surreal and oddly comfortable. Micah adapted with the resilience of youth too quickly, maybe. He loved the private tutors, the gaming setup, the fact that dangerous men in expensive suits treated him like a young prince. It worried me how easily he'd accepted this gilded cage. My mother remained in a medicated haze at Clearview Medical, the best neurological facility in Manhattan. When I visited, she barely recognized me, her MS-ravaged body finally getting the treatment she'd needed for years. The guilt of that it took Luca Moretti's blood money to save her, sat like a stone in my chest. And Luca himself remained a constant, unsettling presence. He worked from home those first days, always nearby but never crowding. I'd find him cooking breakfast before I woke, leaving perfectly plated meals. He asked about my mother, listened when I talked about Micah's adjustment, watched me with an intensity that made my skin prickle with awareness. On the 4th night, I found him on the terrace, city lights glittering below like fallen stars. He held a glass of red wine, his suit jacket discarded, looking almost human in just his shirt and slacks. Why are you doing this? The question burst out before I could stop it. I'm nobody, Luca. Just a witness who can be silenced a lot cheaper than this protection costs. He turned, and something in his expression made my breath catch. You want the truth? I deserve it. Yes. He set down his wine. You do? He gestured to the chair beside him. Sit, please. I sat, and he poured me wine with steady hands. Then he began to speak, his voice low and controlled, like he was reciting facts from a file instead of confessing sins. 15 years ago, my father ordered a hit on a restaurant owner who wouldn't pay protection money. Chun's Palace in Flushing. The owner was supposed to be alone. His jaw tightened. But there was a mistake. His wife and daughter were in the car when my father's men planted the bomb. My blood went cold. No, the wife died instantly. The daughter, 7 years old, died 3 hours later in the hospital. He finally looked at me, and the pain in his eyes was raw, real. Her name was Lily Chun. The wine glass slipped from my fingers, shattering on the terrace. My cousin, yes. No apology, no justification, just brutal honesty. I found out 5 years ago when I took over the family. Spent 2 years investigating my father's crimes, building cases, cleaning up his messes. Lily's file destroyed me, his hands clenched. A 7-year-old girl. Collateral damage because my father wanted to make a point. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't process. Aunt May and little Lily. The accident that was never explained, that my mother refused to talk about, that had broken our family in ways we never acknowledged. I tracked your family, Luca continued. Found your mother in that understaffed nursing home. Found Micah struggling in an underfunded school. Found you working yourself to death trying to keep them both afloat. His voice dropped. I spent 2 years trying to find a way to make it right. Then you walked past that shooting, and fate gave me an opportunity I didn't deserve. So this is guilt. My voice shook with fury and something else, something I didn't want to name. You're keeping me prisoner because your family murdered mine. It started as guilt, he admitted. But what I feel now... He stood, moving toward me with that controlled grace that made him seem both predatory and protective. That has nothing to do with the past. Then what? I stood to face him, refusing to be intimidated. What do you feel, Luca? He stopped close enough that I could see the silver flecks in his dark eyes, could smell cedar and wine and something uniquely him, like I've been searching for something my entire life, and finally found it in the last place I should look. His hand rose to cup my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone with devastating gentleness. Like losing you would destroy me in ways my father's enemies never could. You barely know me. I know you work 70-hour weeks without complaint. I know you read to your brother every night, even when you're exhausted. I know you haven't bought yourself new clothes in 2 years because every penny goes to your mother's care. His other hand found my waist. I know you're strong enough to survive in my world and soft enough not to let it harden you. And I know, his voice went rough. I know I want you more than I've wanted anything in my entire life. This is wrong, I whispered, even as I leaned into his touch. Your father killed my family. I killed my father 3 years ago for crimes exactly like that one. The confession should have horrified me. Instead, it sent heat pooling low in my stomach. I'm not him, Emma. I'm trying to be better. For my family. For this city. His forehead touched mine. For you, I should hate you. You should. His lips brushed mine, featherlight, asking permission. Do you? I should have said yes. Should have pushed him away. Should have remembered Lily's sweet face from old family photos. Instead, I closed the distance and kissed him. The kiss shattered something between us, some wall I'd been desperately trying to maintain. Luca pulled me against him with a hunger that should have terrified me, his hands tangling in my hair, his mouth claiming mine like he'd been starving for this moment. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his eyes were almost black with want. Emma, my name was a prayer and a warning. If you're going to run, do it now, because if you stay, I'm not running. The words came out steadier than I felt. Not tonight. Something fierce and possessive flashed across his face. He lifted me effortlessly, my legs wrapping around his waist as he carried me inside. We made it as far as the living room before he set me on the kitchen counter, his body pressing between my thighs, his mouth finding mine again with devastating precision. Tell me to stop, he breathed against my lips. Tell me this is too fast, too complicated. Don't stop. My hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer. Don't you dare stop, his control snapped. I woke tangled in silk sheets in a bed that wasn't mine, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Luca's bedroom. His scent everywhere on the pillows, on my skin, in my hair. The space beside me was empty, but still warm. Memory flooded back. His hands, his mouth, the way he'd whispered my name like a benediction, the way I'd fallen apart beneath him, over and over until I couldn't remember why I'd ever tried to resist. Good morning. His voice came from the doorway. He stood there in dark slacks and an unbuttoned white shirt, holding 2 cups of coffee, looking unfairly perfect for someone who'd gotten as little sleep as I had. I pulled the sheet higher, suddenly self-conscious. Hi. He crossed the room, set the coffee on the nightstand, and sat on the bed's edge. His hand found my face with that same gentle intensity. Regrets? I don't know yet. Honesty felt safer than lies. Ask me again when my brain starts working. His smile was soft, almost boyish. Fair enough. He handed me the coffee black, no sugar, perfectly made. Drink, then we need to talk. Dread curled in my stomach. That sounds ominous. Not ominous. Just honest. He stood, buttoning his shirt with efficient movements. Get dressed. Meet me in my office in 20 minutes. His office was all dark wood and leather, one wall covered in monitors showing security feeds from around the building. I recognized the lobby, the elevators, even the hallway outside my suite. You've been watching me. Not a question. I've been protecting you. He gestured to a chair. There's a difference. Is there? I sat, crossing my arms. What did you need to tell me that required an office setting instead of, I don't know, pillow talk? His expression went serious. I need you to understand what being with me means. Really understand, not just intellectually, but viscerally. He pulled up a file on his computer, turned the monitor toward me. This is everyone who's tried to get close to me in the past 5 years. Business partners, friends, women I've dated. The list was long, too long. And beside each name, a status update. Most said relocated or protective custody. 3 said deceased. My throat tightened. You're trying to scare me. I'm trying to be honest. He leaned forward, elbows on his desk. Last night was inevitable, from the moment I saw you. But now that it's happened, you need to know what you're choosing. People will see you as my weakness. They'll try to use you against me. Some will try to hurt you just to hurt me. So what? We pretend it didn't happen. Go back to professional distance. No. The word was absolute. I couldn't do that if I tried. You're in my blood now, Emma. Under my skin. The only thing that terrifies me more than losing you is the knowledge that loving me might get you killed. Loving? The word caught me off guard. Luca, I know. Too fast, too much. He ran a hand through his hair, looking suddenly vulnerable. But I don't know how to do this slowly. I want you safe, fed, happy, mine. I want to wake up every morning and see you in my bed. I want... He stopped himself. Christo, I sound insane. A little, I admitted, but my heart was racing for entirely different reasons. But maybe I like insane. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor shifted, shoulders squaring, expression hardening into something lethal. What is it? He turned the phone toward me. A text from an unknown number sent to my phone but forwarded to his security system. A photo filled the screen. Luca and me on the terrace last night, kissing. Taken from a distance with a telephoto lens. Blow it. A message. Cute. Luca Moretti's new pet. We'll send him pieces of you until he learns to share. My hands started shaking. Luca was already moving, phone to his ear, voice like ice. Marco, I want everyone who took surveillance photos of this building in the past week. I want their equipment, their files, and their fingers. By tonight. He hung up and looked at me with eyes that promised violence. Pack a bag. We're leaving the city for a few days. Where my mother's estate. Upstate. It's the most secure location I have. He crossed to me, gripping my shoulders. No one threatens what's mine and lives to brag about it. No one. Luca disappeared 18 hours after receiving that text. One moment he was barking orders into his phone, the next he was kissing me hard and fast, promising he'd be back soon, and then he was gone. The penthouse felt enormous and empty without him. Marco, his second-in-command, appeared within minutes. A mountain of muscle with kind eyes that didn't match his scarred knuckles. Boss's orders. You stay inside, stay safe. Anything you need, you ask me. I need to know where he went. Can't tell you that. Miss Chun, but something in his expression, pity maybe, or understanding, told me exactly what Luca was doing, hunting. Micah noticed my anxiety at dinner, picking at the gourmet meal Luca's chef had prepared. Where's Luca? Business trip. The lie tasted bitter. He'll be back soon. Do you like him? My brother's question was too perceptive for 13. Like him. I thought about Luca's hands in my hair, his mouth on mine, the way he'd made me feel seen for the first time in my life. Yeah, Micah, I think I do. Good. He stabbed at his pasta. He looks at you like you're the only person in the room. Like how Dad used to look at Mum before she got sick. The observation made my throat tight. Get some sleep, okay? School in the morning. But I couldn't sleep. I paced the penthouse, watching the clock, fighting the urge to call Luca's phone. Marco sat in the living room, a silent sentinel, his presence both comforting and terrifying. At 3 a.m., the elevator dinged. Luca stepped out, and my heart stopped. Blood stained his knuckles, his white shirt was ruined, and something dark and terrible lived in his eyes. He looked like death walking, like violence incarnate. He saw me and froze. Emma. My name was broken, raw. You should be sleeping. I crossed to him, my hands reaching for his face before I could stop myself. Are you hurt? No. He caught my wrists, holding them gently. None of this is mine. The admission should have sent me running. Instead, I pulled him toward the bathroom, turning on the shower, helping him strip off the ruined clothes with trembling fingers. He let me, standing silent and still while I washed blood from his hands, his arms, his chest. How many? I asked quietly. 4. No hesitation, no shame. The photographer who took that picture, the 2 men who hired him, and the Corsini underboss who approved the contract. His hand found my face, wet from shower spray, and something else. They knew your name, Emma. Had your address, Micah's school, your mother's facility. They were planning. His voice broke. I couldn't let them finish planning. I should have been horrified. Should have seen the monster everyone warned me about. Instead, I saw a man who'd walked into hell to keep me safe. You killed them. Not a question. A statement of fact. Yes, for me. For you. He pulled me against him. Still dressed while he stood naked under the spray, holding me like I was the only solid thing in his world. I'd kill 1,000 more if it meant you stayed safe. The news broke at 6 a.m. 4 bodies discovered in a warehouse in Queens, all connected to the Corsini family. Execution style, the reporter said with barely concealed excitement. Gang violence escalating in the boroughs. I watched the broadcast from Luca's bed, where I'd stayed with him after the shower, holding him while he finally slept. His arm was heavy across my waist, possessive even in sleep. When he woke, his eyes found mine immediately. You're still here. Where else would I be? He sat up, and I saw uncertainty in his expression for the first time. I thought maybe you'd leave. After knowing what I'm capable of, I thought about the bodies in the warehouse, about the violence he'd committed with his own hands, about the fact that I should be horrified, disgusted, running as fast as I could. Instead, I felt safe, protected, chosen. I'm not leaving, I said quietly. I'm staying. His breath caught. Emma, I'm choosing you, Luca. All of this. All of you. I moved closer, my hand finding his scarred chest, feeling his heart race beneath my palm. I should be horrified. I know that. But all I feel is grateful that you came back, that you're safe, that those men can't hurt my family. You understand what that makes you? His voice was rough, aching. What choosing me means. It means I'm complicit. It means I've accepted the monster. I met his eyes without flinching. It means I'm yours and you're mine, and I don't care anymore about what's right or wrong. I only care about staying alive and keeping the people I love safe. Something broke in his expression. Relief and wonder and possession all tangled together. Say it again. I'm choosing you. He kissed me like I was air. Like I was salvation. Like I was the only thing standing between him and damnation. And maybe I was. When we finally broke apart, I asked the question that terrified me. How many people have you killed, Luca? Total. He didn't hesitate. Directly. 4. On my orders. He paused. Enough that I stopped counting years ago. The number should have destroyed me. Instead, I kissed him again. I'm still choosing you, I whispered against his mouth. Monster and all. His arms tightened around me like he'd never let go. Then I'm the luckiest monster alive. The call came 3 days later. Clearview Medical. The nurse's voice professionally calm but urgent. Miss Chun, your mother is asking for you. She's lucid, more alert than we've seen her in months. You should come now while she's coherent. Luca drove me himself, his hand finding mine in the car, thumb tracing circles on my wrist. Do you want me to come in with you? No, I needed this conversation alone. But stay close. Always. My mother looked smaller in the hospital bed, her body ravaged by years of M's, but her eyes were sharp, focused, knowing when I walked in. She studied my face with the intensity only mothers possess, seeing things I'd tried to hide. You're in love, not a question. Her voice was weak but certain. I sank into the chair beside her bed. Mama, don't lie to me, Barbe. Her thin hand found mine. I can see it written all over your face. The same way I looked at your father. Her eyes narrowed. Is it the Moretti boy? My blood went cold. How did you— I'm dying, Bella, not stupid. A ghost of a smile touched her lips. It's a security detail. This facility that costs more than we'd earn in 10 years. The way you smell like expensive cologne when you visit. She squeezed my hand with what little strength she had. I know who's protecting you. The question is, do you know what you're getting into? Tears burned my eyes. I know his family killed Aunt May and Lily. I know what he is, what he does. I know I should run, but my voice broke. I can't, Mama. I've tried, and I can't. She was quiet for a long moment, her breathing labored. Then she spoke, and the words shattered everything I thought I knew. The world tilted. What? The brakes didn't just fail, Bella. Someone cut them. Her eyes filled with tears. I knew. I always knew. The police said it was mechanical failure, but your father had just serviced that car. He was careful, meticulous. Her grip tightened. 3 days before he died, he came home terrified. Said he'd seen something at Chun's palace he shouldn't have seen. Men in suits, talking about things that would get people killed. Mama, why didn't you? Because I was a coward. The confession came out broken, ashamed. I told myself it was an accident because the truth was too heavy to carry. Because investigating meant putting you and Micah in danger. Because I chose comfortable lies over dangerous truth. A tear slid down her weathered cheek. And that cowardice, Bella, I think it poised me from the inside. Maybe even made me sick. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. My entire childhood built on a lie my mother had chosen to protect us. Don't make my mistakes, Balbe. She reached up, cupping my face with trembling fingers. If you're going to be with this man, be with him honestly. Know what he is, what he's done, and choose him anyway with your eyes wide open. Her voice strengthened. But don't lie to yourself. Don't make excuses. And don't ever let fear or love make you invisible. The moment you start erasing yourself to fit his world, you leave. Promise me. I promise. The words came out choked. She smiled, tired but genuine. Aunt May forgave them, you know, before she died. What? She found Salvatore Moretti in the hospital, where she was dying. Told him she didn't want revenge, didn't want more blood spilled in Lily's name. My mother's eyes drifted closed, exhaustion taking over. She said Lily wouldn't want the violence to continue. That forgiveness was the only way to break the cycle. I sat with her until she fell asleep, her words echoing in my mind. When I finally emerged, Luca was waiting in the hallway, and something in my expression made him straighten. She knows, I said simply. About you, about us. She gave me her blessing. Relief flooded his features. Emma, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his expression shifted surprise, maybe concern. He answered, listened, and his eyes found mine with something I couldn't read. Yes, Mother. She's right here. He covered the phone. My mother wants to meet you. My stomach dropped. Your mother? Sophia Moretti. She's been in protective seclusion for 10 years. He looked almost nervous. She never asks to meet anyone. But she wants to meet you. He paused. This weekend. At her estate upstate. Why? His smile was soft, vulnerable. Because she thinks I finally lost my mind falling for someone so fast. She wants to see if you're real, or if I've invented you out of desperation. Sophia Moretti's estate sat 2 hours north of the city, surrounded by walls that looked decorative but were reinforced steel. Cameras disguised as garden ornaments, and guards positioned at strategic points with military precision. It looked like a country manor from a magazine. It functioned as a fortress. Luca's hand found mine as we approached the main house. She can be ... intense. Don't let her intimidate you, your mother or the small army protecting her. His smile was tight. Both. Sophia waited in a garden that looked like Eden roses blooming despite the late season, stone pathways winding through perfectly manicured hedges. She stood as we approached, and I understood immediately where Luca got his presence. She was elegant, maybe 60, with silver threading through dark hair pulled into a severe bun. Her eyes were sharp enough to cut, assessing me with the precision of a jeweler examining a diamond for flaws. So, her voice carried the weight of old money and older blood. You're the girl who's made my son forget every survival instinct I taught him. Mother. Lucas's tone held warning. It's fine. I stepped forward, refusing to be cowed. Mrs. Moretti, it's an honor to meet you, is it? She circled me slowly, and I felt weighed, measured, judged. My son has never brought a woman to meet me, never let anyone close enough to matter. You must be extraordinary, or just stubborn enough not to run when I should have. That and a smile small but genuine. Sit! Both of you! Let's have tea like civilized people! Over delicate china and pastries I was too nervous to eat. Sophia interrogated me with surgical precision. My family history, my education, my dreams before Luca upended my life. She listened with the focus of someone trained to detect lies, and I had the unsettling feeling she saw straight through to my bones. You know what my husband was, she said finally, setting down her cup. What this family represented for generations. I know he was a monster. The words came out before I could stop them. Luca tensed, but Sophia laughed a sound like breaking glass. Good, you're not a sycophant. She turned to Luca. I like her. She has teeth. Mother, I didn't bring Emma here for your approval, no. You brought her because you needed me to see that you've found something worth protecting. Sophia's expression softened fractionally. Your father would have seen her as a weakness to exploit. But you, she reached across, touching Luca's scarred hand. You see her as a reason to be better. He killed him. The words burst from me. Luca killed his own father. Sophia didn't flinch. 3 years ago, when he discovered the full extent of Vittorio's crimes, she looked at her son with something like pride. It was the hardest thing he's ever done. And the most necessary. Luca's jaw tightened. Emma doesn't need to know. She deserves to know everything. Sophia turned to me. My son took over this family to dismantle it from the inside. Every dirty operation his father ran, Luca has systematically destroyed or legitimized. The trafficking rings, the protection rackets, the violence for profit, all of it, gone or transformed. Her eyes held mine. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and an empire built on blood doesn't crumble quickly. He has enemies on all sides. People who want the old ways back. People who see reform as weakness. People who'll use me against him, I finished. Exactly. Sophia's smile was sad. So, I'll ask you once, Emma-chan, are you strong enough for this? Strong enough to stand beside my son while he rebuilds our family's legacy? Strong enough to... Gunfire erupted. The world exploded into chaos. Sophia's guards rushed forward as bullets shattered the garden's peace, pinging off stone, splintering wood. Luca moved pure, lethal efficiency, a gun appearing in his hand from somewhere, his body covering mine as he dragged me toward the house. I caught a glimpse of him in action, no hesitation, no mercy, just cold precision, as he took down 2 attackers before they could breach the garden wall. This wasn't the man who cooked for me, who held me gently, who whispered my name like a prayer. This was the monster everyone feared. And God help me, I loved him anyway. Inside the house, pressed against marble walls while gunfire continued outside. Luca checked me for injuries with shaking hands. "Are you hurt?" "Emma, talk to me, I'm fine." I grabbed his face, forcing him to look at me. "I'm fine. Are you— Marco's team is handling it." His eyes were wild, desperate. "You could have been killed if they'd gotten closer, if I hadn't been fast enough." I kissed him, hard and fierce, tasting fear and adrenaline. "But you were, and I'm safe. Because of you." When the gunfire finally stopped, when Marco gave their all clear, we found Sophia calmly pouring herself more tea, not a hair out of place despite the violence that had just erupted around her. "Well," she said, looking at me with new respect, "you didn't scream, didn't faint, didn't fall apart." She raised her cup in a toast. "Welcome to the family, Emma Chun." The attack left 3 bodies in Sophia's garden, rival family soldiers testing Luca's defenses, probing for weaknesses. They found one. Me. The knowledge sat like ice in my chest as we drove back to the city, Luca's hand gripping mine so tightly it almost hurt. "This is what it means," he said quietly, staring out at the highway blurring past. "Being with me. Today won't be the last time someone tries to use you against me. It'll happen again, and again, until," his voice broke, "until one day I'm not fast enough." Back at the penthouse, he poured us both whiskey, his movements mechanical, controlled. I'd learned that control meant he was barely holding himself together. "I need to tell you something." He handed me the glass, didn't sit, just stood by the window looking out at the city. "I've made arrangements. New identity, new city, new life, witness protection, but better, my people, my resources. You'd be safe, Emma. Really safe. Far from me in this world and everyone who wants to hurt me through you." My heart stopped. "You're sending me away. I'm giving you a choice." He finally turned to face me. "Stay with me, knowing you'll never be truly safe, never be free of guards and threats and violence. Or leave, knowing I'll make sure you and Micah and your mother have everything you need for the rest of your lives. Good schools, medical care, financial security. All of it. No strings. And you?" His smile was broken. "I'll survive. Always do. But Emma, I need you to choose because you can't imagine choosing anything else. Not because you feel trapped. Not because you're grateful. Not because I've backed you into a corner." He crossed to me, kneeling so we were eye level. "I need you to choose me knowing full well what that choice means." I thought about my old life, invisible waitress, working 70-hour weeks, watching my mother die slowly, keeping Micah fed on food bank donations and prayers. I'd been erasing myself day by day, becoming smaller, quieter, less, until I was practically a ghost in my own life. Then I thought about who I'd become in Luca's world. Seen, wanted, protected, alive in ways I'd never been before, but also complicit in violence, bound to a man whose hands were stained with blood, trapped in luxury that functioned as a cage. "If I leave," I asked quietly, "would you let me go? Really let me go?" "Yes, no hesitation. I'd hate every second of it. I'd probably drink myself stupid and make terrible decisions. But I wouldn't stop you. Wouldn't follow you. Wouldn't interfere with your new life." His hand found my face. "Because keeping you prisoner would destroy the very thing I love about you, your strength, your choice, your fire." I set down the whiskey, my hands trembling. "I was invisible my whole life, Luca. I worked jobs where people looked through me. I sacrificed and scraped and disappeared piece by piece, trying to keep everyone else alive. I stood, pulling him up with me. Then you saw me. Really saw me. And I haven't been invisible since. Emma, I should leave. I know that. Any sane person would run screaming from this life, from you, from all of it. I moved closer, my hands finding his chest, feeling his heart race beneath my palms. But I don't want sanity. I don't want safe. I don't want invisible. His breath caught. What do you want? You. The word came out fierce, certain. I want you. Every dark corner, every dangerous moment, every choice that makes decent people flinch. I want to stand beside you while you rebuild your family's legacy. I want to be seen, claimed, chosen by the most dangerous man in New York. I met his eyes without flinching. Everything that happens to me is your business. Fine. But everything that happens to you is now mine too. That's how this works. We protect each other. We choose each other. Every single day. Something broke in his expression. Relief and wonder and love so intense it made my chest ache. Marry me. The words weren't a question but a plea. Marry me and let me spend the rest of my life proving you didn't choose wrong. He pulled a small box from his pocket, velvet, worn, clearly old. Inside sat a ring that caught the light like captured fire, antique and beautiful and clearly precious. This was my grandmother's, he said, voice rough. The only Moretti heirloom worth keeping. She told me before she died to save it for someone extraordinary. Someone strong enough to stand beside me, soft enough not to let this world harden them. His hands shook as he held it. Someone exactly like you. I looked at the ring, at the man, at the life stretching before me, dangerous, beautiful, impossible, mine. Yes. The word came out breathless, certain. Yes, I'll marry you. He slid the ring onto my finger, and it fit perfectly, like it had been waiting for me all along. Then he kissed me, like I was salvation, like I was home, like I was everything he'd been searching for, in all the wrong places, until fate put me in that alley at exactly the right moment. I love you, he whispered against my mouth. God help me, Emma. I love you more than anything. I love you too. The confession felt like freedom. Monster and all. His arms tightened around me, and I knew this was the choice that would define everything. Not the easiest choice, not the safest, but mine. Wholly, completely, irrevocably mine. The wedding happened 3 weeks later in Sophia's garden, the same place where bullets had flown, now transformed with white roses and candlelight. Small, private, just family. Micah stood beside me in a suit Luca had bought him, looking older than 13, trying not to cry. My mother watched via video call from Clearview, her face luminous with joy despite the medication haze. Sophia stood as officiant, her voice steady as she spoke about love forged in fire, about choosing each other despite the odds, about building something beautiful from ashes and blood. When it came time for vows, Lucas's hands trembled as they held mine. I was lost before you, he said, his voice carrying across the small gathering. Running an empire I didn't want, cleaning up sins that weren't mine. Trying to be better than my father without knowing what better looked like. His eyes held mine, dark and intense and full of everything we'd survived. Then I found you in that alley, terrified and brave, and suddenly I understood. Better meant protecting you. Better meant being worthy of the way you look at me. Better meant loving you with everything I am. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. I will never make you invisible. I will never make you small. I will protect you, cherish you, and love you until my last breath. Everything I am, everything I have, it's yours, Emma. It always was. Tears streamed down my face as I spoke my own vows. I choose you, I said simply. Every day, in every way, I choose you. Your darkness and your light. Your past and our future. The monster and the man. I squeezed his hands. You saw me when I was invisible. You made me believe I was worth choosing. And now I get to spend the rest of my life choosing you right back. All of it, Luca. I choose all of it. When we kissed, I tasted salt from both our tears. 6 months later, I stood on the penthouse terrace, city lights sprawling below like fallen stars. Law school textbooks waited inside. Luca had been right. I loved it. Loved the logic, the arguments, the way words could be weapons as powerful as bullets. I was good at it, too. Top of my class, professors already talking about clerkships and futures I'd never dared imagine. Behind me, Micah's laughter drifted from his room where he video called friends from his new school. He was thriving, confident, happy, finally allowed to be a kid instead of worrying about bills and his dying mother. Mum had stabilized, the experimental treatment working miracles. She'd never be healthy, but she was present now, lucid more days than not. And Luca, arms wrapped around me from behind, his chest warm against my back, his scent of cedar and home surrounding me. "What are you thinking?" he murmured against my hair. I leaned into his warmth. That I was invisible my whole life until you saw me. And now I can't imagine ever being unseen again. He turned me to face him, and the look in his eyes still stole my breath after months of marriage. "You were never invisible, Emma. The world was just too blind to see you." His hand cupped my face with that devastating gentleness. "But I saw you from the first moment. And I'll never stop looking." I kissed him, deep and claiming, tasting wine and promises and future. "No regrets?" he asked when we broke apart. I looked at the ring on my finger, his grandmother's ring, my ring now. Thought about the guards stationed throughout the building, the security measures that governed our lives, the enemy still lurking in shadows waiting for weakness. Thought about the violence Lucas still dealt with, the darkness we both carried, the choices we'd made that would horrify decent people. Then I thought about Micah's laughter, my mother's lucid smile, the law degree I was earning, the way Luca looked at me like I hung the stars, the life we were building together from blood and ashes and stubborn, impossible love. "No regrets," I said firmly. "Not a single one." His smile transformed his face, the monster becoming a man, becoming mine. "Good, because you're stuck with me now, Mrs. Moretti. Promise?" "Promise." He kissed me again, softer this time. "Everything that happens to you is my business, remember?" I laughed against his mouth. "And everything that happens to you is mine." Deepened, wrapped in each other, the city alive and dangerous and beautiful below us. The city alive and dangerous and beautiful below us. I'd walked away from invisibility and chosen this, chose danger, chose a life that would never be simple or safe, but would always, always be mine. Visible, chosen, claimed, and wholly, perfectly alive. Far below, in the streets where I used to walk unnoticed, where I used to scrub dishes and count pennies and slowly erase myself to survive, people moved through their invisible lives. And I sent them a silent wish. May you all find someone who sees you, really sees you. And may you be brave enough to let them, because that's what love was. I'd learned, not safety, not simplicity, but being seen completely, devastatingly, dangerously seen, and choosing it anyway. Choosing visibility, choosing life, choosing love. Every single day.